Hi, this is Vijay Bambani. I hope you're doing well in the markets and my videos are helping you become better traders in the markets because that is what this channel and my playlist is for. It's to help my viewers become better traders, make more sense and sensibility out of what is appearing to be a random movement in the market. You see, like I said in yesterday's video, nothing happens in the markets without a reason, and because we are talking about financial markets, the reason invariably is financial in nature. So, taking this forward, I'm going to talk about a few unlocked trades of the year. What do I mean by unlocked trades? Trades that are likely to benefit from the economy when it is unlocked. Of course, believing in behavioral finance and a 360-degree worldview of financial markets, I will also want to share the logic of why I think what I am thinking. And of course, the usual caveat, I can go wrong, which I do from time to time. So one needs to allow a little bit of leeway in my hypothesis. So, a few days ago, I recorded a video as to how the hotel industry could be a beneficiary after the corona pandemic is done and dusted. And in anticipation of this, the prices have already shot up, which is why you need to wait for prices to come down before entering long for the long term in the hotel and hospitality sector. Now, in this video, I'm going to provide you a couple of sectors and then hazard a guess as to which one of these sectors would possibly be the biggest beneficiary, and therefore you need to look at this particular sector with a higher degree of weightage or preference, if you will. So aviation is another sector which I look at. Not that I'm a very big fan of aviation. Globally, aviation is a loss-making industry and the return on capital employed is not really very great. But I think just like the aircraft which are parked in the parking bays at airports all over the world, and the travelers who in turn are feeling like they are chained and barred from traveling across the world, are likely to rush out to visit overseas or even intercity travel. Therefore, aviation sector might just see business humming back, or rather roaring back, once the unlock actually happens. So this is one sector that you need to keep a watch on. Branded goods, especially those goods that are in the FMCG space like garments, shoes, etc. Now, what we have seen in the pandemic-based lockdown is that luxury goods consumption hasn't really slowed down much. The reason is that the high net worth individuals and the ultra high net worth individuals don't really get impacted by a temporary or even prolonged cash flow disruptions. They already have such a high degree of savings that they continue to buy what they need to buy. So I think branded goods in the FMCG space will continue to do fairly well. Logistics like e-commerce, couriers, delivery companies, etc., movers and packers, transport companies should continue to do well, because in the unlock or post the unlock, we will consume goods and services, which will mean that logistical help will be required in a greater degree as compared to the pandemic-based lockdown. So I think this sector also needs watching. I think people are going to dine out a lot more often, and I admit I would be a part of that segment of the consuming population. I would love to go out and eat more often, and as a matter of fact, since the pandemic, I haven't done that which is something that I am gladly looking forward to. So, restaurants, dining houses, hospitality sector, another area which can do fairly well as an unlocked trade. If people are going to travel, can auto ancillaries, for example, tires, can tire companies do well because people are going to travel a lot more and maybe even intercity travel will return back to normal? I think sentimentally that could be another sector to watch out for. Now do remember that the markets being what they are, in addition to fundamentals, there will also be emotion-based buying, buying in anticipation. Remember my video a couple of days ago, retail traders and the markets. Now this is a market which is full of newbies, millennials, and they have a very raw style of thinking, and therefore there's going to be a whole lot of emotion-based buying, gut-based buying, and therefore I think auto ancillaries like tires, etc. should do well. Now, here comes a sector that I think should do fairly well, which is why I've reserved the best for the last. And I base my hypothesis on the firm knowledge which is based on behavioral finance. I was reading a chapter on behavioral finance in a good book, and I came across a chapter as to why the most luxurious malls, especially the shops which are selling high value items, tend to keep pictures or rather large portraits of human misery. For example, starving children in Africa. For example, people suffering from terminal illnesses. Why would you want to actually do that in front of a shop that is selling a 10,000 US dollar watch? Why indeed? Now I was a little perplexed, and then the chapter went out to kind of throw light on this and take away my lack of literacy on this subject of marketing. It says, if you make a person feel miserable, chances are people tend to drown that misery by trying to buy happiness. And what else is better to buy happiness than to go shopping? Obviously, such people are called shopaholics, and by force of habit, when you buy something, you tend to feel happier. And for a little over than a year, at least if not for a continuous period of over than a year, interspersed with some openings temporarily, for large periods of time we have seen shopping malls and supermarkets being shut due to, of course, the raging pandemic. And my guess is, once the economy opens out completely and Corona is put behind us as a bad dream, my guess is malls and shopping arcade stocks are going to do very well. Purchasing happiness. Once we've basically become, as a society, a little more aloof, a little more distant. I've frankly attended so many condolence meetings of near and dear departed ones on Zoom that I have a feeling that people are going to rely more and more on electronic communication rather than visiting each other, dropping into each other's residences, joining them for lunch, dinner, or get-togethers or whatever. Of course, it's going to come back, but maybe a little less than what it used to be earlier. So people are learning to become more and more isolated and learn to live with themselves, and what better way to make yourself happy. Of course, it's not that it's the best way, but this is what is likely to happen, is that people are going to gift themselves happiness by buying stuff that they may or may not need, which automatically means, hey, your shopping malls, etc. are going to do fairly well. Of course, the media, the print and electronic media, is full of opinions about how once the unlock occurs, initially there will be a flood of deep discounts as older stuff is sold out to the public, and then new stuff replaces the on sale deep discounted goods. that is when the profits will really start to escalate. Maybe a year after the actual lockdown is lifted. So I would bet in the long run on shopping malls and department stores. But of course, like the hotel industry, I would say that in spite of this being the unlocked trade for me, the prices I feel have already run up. You must wait for declines and be extremely careful before getting your toes wet or diving into the pool. Play it like a game of chess, a very lazy, very well calculated and a very deliberate move out there. I think this story will reward you by 2022. Provided, of course, you tend to get some kind of positions into place by end of 2021 at the outset, at the most. On this optimistic note, I'll bid goodbye to you in this video, not before reminding you to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already done so. Click on the bell icon to receive instant alerts about fresh videos being put up out here. In the comment section, good, bad or ugly, I welcome all your feedback, and hey, help me reach out to fellow like-minded investors and traders by referring my video to your family and friends. I wish you have a very, very profitable day ahead. I would suggest you take very good care of yourself, your health, your family and friends, your trades and investments. Thank you for your patience and watching my video. Vijay Bambwani signing off for now till we meet again in my next. Take care. Bye-bye.
This is it. The only 20 stocks to own forever. Click here to reserve your free spot for our special event on Forever Stocks on 21st June at 5 p.m. IST.